Just on Manchester City, because I don't think many people expected that kind of performance from United, but not from City either. Sam Wallace in the Sunday Telegraph, the headline is Haaland red face as Guardiola flexes managerial muscle. He says it's hard to bet against City. They have so many good players, the capacity to acquire more, and for now at least the most accomplished manager of his generation. But perhaps the era when City played a style that often felt impossible for any to overcome for a sustained period is over. That's quite damning, isn't it, for Manchester City?
Yeah, it really is. And I think the issue here is that Pep Guardiola has obviously completely changed the style of how City play over the course of the last 12 months. And they play a much more, basically individualistic style, much more direct, probably more conventional. They don't get 80% possession or whatever like they used to. They don't play it like the way they play. It's not all about having the ball at all times anymore. But the problem with that individualistic style is it's really dependent on the individuals. And if you watch them play this season, even when they've been good, they've been much, much more dependent on Haaland than they've ever been on an individual in the past. You know, the great Guardiola teams were never as dependent on whether it's David Silva, De Bruyne, Aguero, Sterling, anyone, as they have been this season on Haaland. And the problem with that is it's inherently brittle if you play like that, because if your top player goes to a bad run, then the whole team's in trouble. And that's exactly like, I think anybody who's been watching City this season knows that if Haaland stopped scoring, City would be in a mess, and that's exactly what's happened. You know, I don't blame Haaland. Like to me, he just looks really tired. He's obviously played tons of games this season. He's not currently at his best level, and I just think that the dip that City are currently in, it was probably inevitable. It was probably inherent in this more individualistic style of play they've gone to.
And Jack, I'm just picking up on what Jack said there about Erling Haaland. The dip in form is evident, isn't it? It's one penalty, one goal, and it's a penalty in his last 7 games. Is it a blip, or, as Jack was alluding to there, maybe something deeper and reflecting in a malaise for Manchester City just now?
There's definitely a bit of that where they've got real struggles at the back. I went to their game against Chelsea at the start of the year, and they were leading until late on when Chelsea brought one in under an interim manager. And it just didn't feel like the proper City. They weren't completely all over them, pulling them this way and that. It didn't feel like a proper, this is City right on the edge. They're going to chase down somebody and really reel Arsenal in. I think it would be naive to say that this is a really big problem for Haaland and we're never going to see him at that level again. A couple of months ago, before Christmas, when City were getting into their stride a bit, there were concerns that maybe it was just Haaland that was scoring all the goals, but you sat here and thought, well, I can't see him stopping. So it's not, if you're going to rely on one player, it may as well be Erling Haaland. But it just doesn't feel like they've quite worked out how to best support him with the players they've brought in as well. We were chatting before, there's a lot that have come in and made encouraging starts and then dropped off. Reinders started the season well, Cherky came in, looked great. Not really seen much of him. Marmoush came in from Germany last season, started fantastically, and we've really not seen enough of him. There's been a lot of recruitment that has looked good at the start. Semenyo's come in, flying start until yesterday. But again,
he's been great.
He's been fantastic.
He's a super signing. I must say, I think Gay's a brilliant signing.
Gay's a fantastic signing.
Brilliant signing for them. A deal worth, say, up to 30 million quid. I mean, yes, it's extraordinary you were paying that amount of money for a player with 6 months left, and obviously having to reward him with a big contract.
But his actual market value.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, and therefore, they are getting a fantastic deal, whichever way you paint it. It's brilliant business on their part.
And they've gazumped everyone again.
Absolutely.
Liverpool were in for Semenyo, United were looking at him, Arsenal had a look, and they just went and gone, bang, done. And they've done it with Gay as well. Everyone that was, manoeuvring, trying to line up a summer move and trying to...
I think they've done brilliantly. I think he will shore up their defence. I still think, I know people are, I still think they're going to have a say in this season. I really do. Yes, they've had bad days like they had yesterday, but Guardiola's a genius, and I have this little theory that he's made the most unlike sort of Guardiola signings in Donnarumma. Donnarumma's not a Guardiola goalkeeper, but he's an absolutely fantastic goalkeeper. Why? Because he's for here and now. I do think, are we witnessing the end of of Guardiola's amazing time in English football? For me, I think he's been the best manager bar none in the Premier League era, and I think he wants to go out in a blaze of glory. And I think I think if he could do that, I wonder whether that would be his last season in English football. if he went. What a way to go with the biggest prizes of all.
Yeah, and rather like City, everyone wanted you three this morning, but we got straight in and gazumped them all. Let's